Identifying a toxic work environment before you commit to the role can save you a lot of stress. So in this video, we're talking about ways to spot a toxic workplace during the hiring or interview process. So let's get right into it. My name is Lisa Appia. I am a certified career strategist and organizational coach, and I help people make those tough transitions, including leaving toxic workplaces. The first thing that you should pay attention to is lack of clarity. For example, if the job description is quite vague, or you're asking follow-up questions about the roles and responsibilities and you're getting conflicting answers, or there's just unrealistic expectations about what the role is. If you're talking about the position with them and they're telling you things like you'll wear many hats, that is a red flag that you definitely need to pay attention to during the hiring process. So interview questions that you can ask to help you navigate this. How would you measure success in this role? How would you measure success in this role 6 months from now or a year from now? What's the day-to-day like in this position? What does a week in this role look like? So these are all questions that will help you understand, do they have a plan for this position? Is there a clear outline of what the roles and responsibilities are so that you can have a sense of what the expectations are as well? The second thing to pay attention to is a disorganized interview process. A poorly managed interview process can give you a sense of the internal culture of the organization. Perhaps there is a workflow issue within the organization, or potentially there's a lack of respect for candidates that the organization or the interviewer may have. And this may show up in different ways, whether the interview is missed, the interview gets rescheduled, there aren't clear instructions about the interview process, or even the interview process is being dragged on and there seems to be no end in sight. Question that you can ask to get a better sense of how the interview process is being organized is, what's the next step in the hiring process? This will give you a sense of, is it a hiring process that has 2 interviews or a hiring process that has 6 interviews? Do they even know what the structure and the next steps are? So this will give you an understanding of, is this something I am willing to continue to commit my time to, or should I continue looking elsewhere? The third thing to pay attention to is disengaged interviewers. This may be a sign of disinterest on their part in their own role, or it can give you an indication of company culture. Maybe there is a lack of morale. Maybe they've been dealing with high turnover, which has caused them to become disinterested or disengaged. I've had the situation where I went into an interview and the person showed up and you could tell like they just completed a workout, they were completely out of breath. You could tell that they just didn't plan to come to this interview. And for me, that was a bit of a sign of disrespect because I came on time. I was ready for the interview, but they came and you could tell they hadn't prepared for it. They were just making up questions. They didn't have prepared questions that they were asking me, and I took that as a red flag because they didn't take the interview process seriously, so why should I, right? So there could be situations like that, but it could be also minimal eye contact, vague answers to your questions, or simply lack of enthusiasm for the company and their role. So a question that you can ask in the interview is, what do you enjoy most about working here? Or what's a challenge that you faced lately and how did you deal with it? So this takes them a bit off course because this is not the typical question about the organization or the role. This allows you to get that personal touch and really understand, how do they see themselves in the organization? How do they see themselves in that structure? So that will help you to get hopefully an authentic answer about how they view their role in the company. The fourth thing that may be a sign of a toxic workplace is that you're being rushed to come to a decision quickly. This could be a sign that there's something going on behind the scenes that the company doesn't want you to uncover. So they're trying to get you to make a decision quickly so you're in already. And I have been in this situation where I had a quick interview process. I was hired very quickly. They asked me to sign the letter of offer. A lot of pressure was put on me and I ended up in a toxic environment. My manager, the person who hired me, actually left 2 weeks after I joined the position. They already knew they were leaving. They didn't tell me they were leaving in the hiring process. I was left without a manager for quite some time, and it just created a lot of stress for me. So as much as that position was a promotion, I ended up leaving very quickly, and I took a lateral position. But for me, this was a promotion away from the stress. It was a promotion away from the disorganization, and it was a promotion away from the amount of work that landed on me when that manager decided to leave. So paying attention to how quickly they're asking you to respond to the offer is also something that can help you identify, is this a toxic environment or not? So a question you can ask: what's your timelines for filling this position? Is there an opportunity for follow-up conversation if I have additional questions? So this will give you a sense of how quickly they're looking to move to fill this position. The next thing to keep in mind is if everything is just too perfect, it seems too good to be true. You know, there are some workplaces like that, and that's absolutely amazing. I work with my clients and they tell me like, I found it. I found the place where the people are great, the environment is great, and I love that for my clients. But at the same time, sometimes it's good to be true, which means that they may be hiding something. So what is it exactly that they are hiding? You want to try to ask those questions to find out, why does everything seem so perfect? Why is there a lack of authenticity in this process? Questions that you can ask in an interview to a hiring manager: how do you typically deal with conflict? What are some of the ground rules when it comes to ways of working that your team has established? These are all ways to get a sense of how do they work together, and does it align with your style, and how do they also deal with conflict when something does come up. Making career transitions aren't always easy, and that's why having a coach to help you can go a long way. You can check out the description to find out more about our career breakthrough program, where we help professionals either make a career change or land their next promotion. And I have another video where I break down how to make a career transition if you're an entrepreneur who's going back into the corporate world. You can click right here to watch that video. I'll see you in that one. Take care.